Welcome back to Red Devils Tea, everybody, and let's just get right into the latest news and breaking news. So, as we have said, the thumbnail is going to be why are the Glazers failing Erik Ten Hag, and why is Erik Ten Hag getting frustrated with the Glazers? And it makes perfect sense because Manchester United are delaying transfers and Erik Ten Hag is getting more and more frustrated. We've had recent news that Mason Mount is now injured and will miss the next 2 to 3 weeks, which is going to be very important because Mason Mount, with signing him, is our crucial player of the summer, is our most important signing, arguably, and Mason Mount is injured. So our new signing is now injured, and another injury as well, Rasmus Hojlund. When is he going to start? And also Sofyan Amrabat, a player who is United have been linked to for the last month, nearly 6 weeks now. We've had personal terms agreed with him for the last 6 weeks, and Man United have still haven't agreed a transfer. And Florentina have finally lowered their asking price to 21 million euros. And finally, Ryan Gravenberch, Bayern Munich, box-to-box midfielder. Manchester United are looking at loaning him in this season as well. So we've got a lot to talk about, but let's start off with the why you clicked on this video, and that is Erik Ten Hag starting to lose his patience. And it makes perfect sense because Erik Ten Hag has been stalled transfers all summer long. Last season it happened as well. Only Tyrell Malacia was the only player last season to have a pre-season under Manchester United, and that's why so many players and Erik Ten Hag were so frustrated because we didn't have the players in. Lisandro Martinez, Eriksson, Casemiro, they all joined just before the Premier League started, and it was only Malacia who had a pre-season, much like with Mason Mount this season. Obviously, Onana joined kind of halfway through pre-season, but it's still, these players should have been ready in at least 2 weeks before pre-season started so that Erik Ten Hag can then play every single game with these players. But let's see who's in the comments and bouncing off the ropes. Big up, mate Munzi in the house. Nice to have you, Munzi. As always, obviously, need to get you on the channel when you are free. But yes, thank you for being in the comments as always. But yes, as I said, Erik Ten Hag is losing patience. Now, it makes perfect sense. I mean, Manchester United have apparently agreed a €15 million deal for a backup goalkeeper. I have no idea who this goalkeeper is, but at the end of the day, for me, it's a waste of money. Yes, United need a backup goalkeeper, but at the end of the day, Manchester United are so close on agreeing a deal with Florentina for Sofyan Amrabat. We've had personal terms agreed with Amrabat for the last 6 weeks, and the new fee. And get ready for this. The new fee that Fiorentina are asking for Amrabat is 21 million euros, which is accumulated to around 18 to 19 million pounds, which is absolutely nothing. And for me, for a player of Amrabat's quality, that is an absolute bargain. If you've never seen how Amrabat plays football, and you might have watched Morocco in the World Cup of last season in Qatar, you'll notice as soon as you see him, you'll know who he is. But the bald guy with the beard, who was absolutely tearing up Mbappe when Morocco played France, he was absolutely sensational in that game. And he was sensational throughout the entire World Cup and has had a very good season for Fiorentina as well. He's mid-20s. He's an absolute engine. He's a powerhouse, and he would be absolutely perfect for our current midfield. But anyway, let's see who's in the comments. Ryan, nice to see you, pal. How are you doing? Simon, uncertainty. He must be frustrated. That's exactly it. Erik Ten Hag doesn't know who's coming in or what's going to happen, who's leaving. We've also had breaking news that Manchester United Youth Academy graduate in Brandon Williams is now going to be leaving Manchester United for a loanee until his contract runs out. So this is another perfect example on how crap our football club is. We've got a young player in Brandon Williams who's on about 50 grand a week, which is extortionate for the quality of player he actually is. And Manchester United are now loaning him out until his contract expires. Now, yes, I think it's Swindon Town or that is being loaned out to Brandon Williams. I think they're in League One. But at the end of the day, it's ridiculous. The fact that we're loaning out Brandon Williams until the end of his contract is ridiculous. Just take a small transfer fee, because now for the next, however long his contract's up for, I think his contract's up at the end of next season. So now we've got to literally, is it Ipswich? There we go. Ryan, thank you for putting that in the comments. It's Ipswich that he's going to. It's literally, and they are who are in the Championship. Ryan, thank you for that. And then it's, Ryan also says that this deal with Amrabat is taking forever. It's a joke. I absolutely agree with you, mate. It's an absolute joke, and this is why Erik Ten Hag is gaining so much frustration with the Glazers. And if you haven't seen on Twitter, so many people of United staff inside Old Trafford who work at the Megastore, who work on security, are now starting to hand out Glazers out posters, which is amazing. Now, I remember, Ryan, here we go. Ryan will know this. me and Ryan met out when I went to the Manchester United protest when the home shirt was released. And it was me, some members of the 1958, and this is where I met Ryan for the first time. And as we were coming back from the Sir Bobby Charlton statue, we were coming through and the security guard let us through the gate. And it was me and the owner of the protest, the organizer of the protest called Richard, and the security guard tapped us on the shoulder and then pulled out his wallet, and he had a Glazers Out sticker in his wallet, which I thought was absolutely incredible because that was the first time I actually met someone in the flesh who worked for Manchester United and actually supported the Glazers Out movement. But it makes you think there's probably many people who work for Manchester United who are just Glazers Out. They're just doing a job. And it might even be some of the coaches. It might even be Erik Ten Hag. I mean, you think back to last season when Erik Ten Hag got thrown that green and yellow scarf and he waves it in the air and then throws it back in the crowd. He knew exactly what he was doing. He knew how to get the crowd going. He knew that everyone was going to go crazy over that situation. Erik Ten Hag's probably Glazers Out because he probably expected this summer to have the Qatari ownership and have an amazing transfer window. But that's not happened again because the Glazers have failed our manager once again. And it's not just Erik Ten Hag, it's happened with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Jose Mourinho, Van Gaal. Every other manager, even Sir Alex Ferguson, probably got failed throughout the Glazers regime before he retired as Manchester United manager. It's absolutely a joke with the way the Glazers run our football club. Kimmich, nice to see you, pal. Nice to see you as always. And Simon says that it makes no sense. I agree, Dan. And Ryan says that so glad everyone has turned on them now, including the staff. Exactly, mate. And the fact is now is that no doubt at any point they're going to, I think what's happening now is that the staff are now going to try and do their part from the inside of club, which I think is going to be absolutely brilliant. Benjamin Hunt, nice to see you, pal. Obviously, if you've been a regular of this channel, you'll know Benjamin comes on our channel regular and he's an absolute goat. But he says that he will be joining previous coach Kieran McKenna at Ipswich. They play very good style of football, currently top. He also has the option for another further year on his deal. So that's obviously about the clarity about Brandon Williams. So Benjamin, thank you for clarifying that. I really appreciate it. And Kieran McKenna as well, completely forgot. He was a United coach under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I believe. And it was him and Darren Fletcher. It was Darren Fletcher and it was, who else was it? Michael Carrick, who's obviously now the manager of Middlesbrough. So yes, I do believe that it is going to be a decent loan for Brandon Williams. But I'm not expecting him to have a developmental loanee from it, like Amad Diallo, for example, where he's gone out and shone and then is possibly in the squad for Manchester United next season. I don't think Brandon Williams is that type of quality player. I mean, he's 21, 22 now. He's on 50 grand a week. Manchester United would be stupid to keep him or re-sign him on a contract, in my opinion. I don't really rate Brandon Williams. I never have. I've never really understood why a primary right-footed player who can't use his left foot plays at left back. It makes no sense. I understand the inverted fullback role where the fullback is good with both feet, but Brandon Williams can only use his right foot. You watch how many times he played for Manchester United throughout the years under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, under Ralf Rangnick, and he just isn't a good all-round fullback, in my opinion. But I do think that with a team like Ipswich, he probably will stand out because he has had Premier League experience. And Kimmich says that Ronaldo was right. The Glazers are just milking United for their benefits. You're definitely right, mate. And I want to say something like this now. I mentioned it a few times on this channel that Ronaldo, once when Ronaldo did that interview with Piers Morgan, it was a snowball effect. That's exactly what happened because he knew the chaos he would cause by exposing the Glazers because he got what he wanted, which was to leave Manchester United. And the snowball effect carried on and the snowball got bigger and bigger and bigger because while Ronaldo was doing that interview, yes, he slated Erik Ten Hag, but he also slated the Glazers, talked about how the infrastructure is absolutely a mess. And I do believe that the way Ronaldo did that, he was thinking of Manchester United's future in the long run. And then what happened within a month, the Glazers put Manchester United up for sale. Now, yes, the sale hasn't happened yet, but the Glazers did put United up for sale. Now, that for me is where we've kind of gone wrong. Benjamin also says that he was originally a right back, but got pushed on left back to facilitate Laird. Now, I didn't know that. So that obviously that clarifies it. Now, Ethan Laird, another Manchester United current graduate, who we actually recently sold. Ben, I think you can clarify me on this or confirm this. Didn't we sell Ethan Laird for about £1 million or was it 900 grand or something this summer, which is absolutely ridiculous because Ethan Laird, again, a player that never really had a Manchester United chance, really. And I think that he was quite a decent player. Obviously, had many loanees in the Championship. but he just never got a look in for Manchester United. And Simon Davis also says that I feel all these strange decisions are not Erik Ten Hag, a captain who isn't allowed to lead. I agree on that. And Ryan also says that, but surely Erik Ten Hag would want majority control, otherwise he would become even more unhappy. And then Benjamin says for the Ethan led around 800k with a high sell-on clause. Well, there you go. That's the confirmation that we need. This is why Benjamin is one of the GOATs on Twitter, and you follow him on Twitter because he's an absolute legend. But anyway, just to talk about Erik Ten Hag, obviously, like we've said, Erik Ten Hag is starting to lose patience. And I think this is also down to the fact that now Manchester United have apparently given Bayern Munich the green light to let Pavard go to Inter Milan, which is, again, an absolute joke because we haven't sold Harry Maguire. Like, realistically, I get that Manchester United don't want to sell Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire doesn't want to leave Manchester United because he's on a comfortable wage of 200 grand a week or 190 grand a week, I think it is, and he doesn't want to move to West Ham. I get it, because if I was Harry Maguire, you don't want to take a pay cut. But Harry Maguire, for me, this is why I don't feel like that he doesn't care, because he is literally getting paid nearly 200 grand a week to sit on the bench when he could be going out playing football. But I think he'll come to regret this decision when he doesn't get called up for England, because it's the Euros at the end of next season, next summer. And Harry Maguire will be absolutely kicking himself when he doesn't play for Manchester United and loses his England spot, and that's when you're going to see him start being like, oh, I wish I'd joined West Ham at that point. It was much like the Jesse Lingard situation. Jesse Lingard went on loan to West Ham. An absolutely unbelievable short loan as well. I think it was from the January to the end of the season. And then he came back to Manchester United. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said he'd be part of his plans. And Lingard never got a foot in. And then Lingard went on a free a year later, which was a shame, because Lingard is a very decent player. And then since he's left Manchester United, he's had a failed career at Nottingham Forest. And I believe he's a free agent now, and I don't know where he is. I don't know if anyone can update me on the Lingard situation. But anyway, and Ben, I don't know if you're still in the chat, but could you let us know a bit more about this backup goalkeeper who apparently signed for 15 million euros? I have no idea who it is, but I just saw a report that Central Devils on Twitter reported that apparently United have agreed a 15 million euro deal for a backup goalkeeper. So if you are still in the chat, let me know. But as I was saying, when Fiorentina have now lowered their asking price for Sofyan Amrabat, now Amrabat for me is going to revolutionise our midfield. I've said many times on this channel that he's going to be one of them players, much like Gundogan is for Manchester City. Your workhorse, the player that is just constantly running, probably one of the first players on that team sheet. Sofyan Amrabat will be that player. And the fact that Fiorentina now asking 21 million euros for Amrabat, for me, is an absolute must-do. And for me, I think that's a perfect signing Manchester United should be making. And another perfect signing I think Manchester United is making is Ryan Gravenberch. Now, Manchester United are in talks, apparently, with Liverpool target as well in Ryan Gravenberch. Now, I do believe that Ryan Gravenberch is a very decent upcoming talent. I mean, he played for Ajax under Erik Ten Hag, to my knowledge, and then he went out and Bayern Munich bought him, but he never really had a look in at Bayern Munich, because again, he's competing with players like Kimmich, Muller, Sabitzer at the time, and Goretzka, and all these other like top class midfielders. He's never really had a look in. So Manchester United apparently agreeing a season-long loan, apparently with Bayern Munich, with an option to buy. That's the reports that I've seen. So I do think that Ryan Gravenberch would be decent. He's a very decent box-to-box midfielder. I believe he's 6'3", 6'4", so he'd be that. Gives that aerial threat, the physicality. He's a very decent upcoming midfielder, and I think he's only 21, 22 years old. So I believe that if this was to happen, maybe we could sell someone like Scott McTominay. But again, Manchester United are now back in the Champions League, so Manchester United are going to need all the advantage we can get. This is where I also think that we can go back to why we signed Mason Mount, to let Bruno have a rest every now and again and let Mason Mount play. But as we've seen, Mason Mount is currently playing that number 8 role, and Bruno Fernandes is playing higher up the pitch. Let's just see who's in the comments. And Simon said, let's have a look. Ryan says that Maguire should have been forced to leave. Another example of too much player power at football clubs. It doesn't help, though, that there's no leadership at the top. Absolute clowns in the boardroom. I completely agree with that. And Simon Davis says Scott Sterling. It's not Scott Sterling, but if you know, you know. If anyone hasn't watched the video of Scott Sterling, Sterling. Check it out on YouTube right now because it's one of the funniest videos I've ever seen. Obviously, it's fake, but it's about this goalkeeper, right? They go to penalties. It's American-style football, or soccer, as they want to call it. Anyway, they go to penalties. Anyway, a keeper called Scott Sterling, they step up for the penalties. And honestly, he saves every single shot with his face. It is absolutely hilarious. If you want to have a good belly laugh, check it out on YouTube called Scott Sterling. It's one of the best videos I've ever seen. It's absolutely amazing. But yes, obviously we'll get back onto the road. And Ryan says that the priority should have been Amrabat before this goalkeeper that we have never heard of. Well, this is where Benjamin, the absolute legend himself, has put on. Very good keeper. Surprised he's willing to join to be a backup. Probably the best keeper in Turkey, which means we can force Henderson out with more. I don't know what it says. Amortization that will help us to free up funds for Amrabat. Well, there you go. I mean, apparently United have struggled to actually sell Dean Henderson. Apparently, United have received like loan offers for Dean Henderson, but no transfers. But again, if we could get rid of Dean Henderson, and if this keeper is as good as you said he is, because I'll admit, when I've never seen a player play football in my life. So again, I've never really heard of this keeper. So Ben, obviously, you doing your job and being an absolute legend as you are, you've literally just highlighted, so we're getting a very good backup goalkeeper. Now, for me, I still believe that one of the best backup goalkeepers we've ever had was Sergio Romero, who was treated absolutely disgustingly by Manchester United with the way we let him go at the end. But if this keeper is as good as you say he is, then this will be an amazing backup and will give someone like Onana a lot of competition. So I'm looking forward to seeing him play. But again, like Ryan said before, Amrabat should have been the priority. We shouldn't be spending 15 million euros on this keeper when Amrabat for me is more important, but that's just my opinion. And Kimmich says that United should have kept Sabitzer. Mount is under pressure right now. I wouldn't say he's under pressure. I would say that the fans are putting him under pressure because United fans haven't seemed to welcome Mason Mount with open arms. And I'm going to talk about Mason Mount in a minute, so I'm just holding him for a second. And Benjamin also says that there is also a fear that Onana will reinstated in his national side, meaning we lose him for a month due to AFCON. Therefore, we need a very competent backup. Well, there you go then. I mean, obviously, when we signed Onana, we did mention on this channel that he has retired from international football. But if that's true, where Onana could be reinstated for his national side for the AFCON, then that would be a massive loss. And obviously, like you said, we need a very good, competent backup. So, again, I could also understand what you mean by that, which is absolutely incredible. And obviously, this is why, Ben, you are probably one of the greats of YouTube. And when it comes, you need to start your own channel, mate. Benjamin needs to start his own channel. You do amazing Twitter reports. You do amazing threads on Twitter. Go check out Ben if you haven't already. He's absolutely incredible. I get majority of my information from him. He's absolutely incredible. And Simon says, "My sweet butter crumpets." But so obviously let's move on. Obviously, we spoke about Amrabat, spoke about Ryan Gravenberch. But actually, let's move back on to Erik Ten Hag and the frustration about why he's starting to lose patience. Because Erik Ten Hag has been failed by the Glazers in every single transfer window so far. You think back to last season at the start when he first joined, he wanted Darwin Núñez, Cody Gakpo. Now, yes, he did get players like Lisandro Martinez, Casemiro, but again, Frankie de Jong, another player that we didn't get. And again, this is why Erik Ten Hag is going to lose patience, because you think back to the January afterwards, we signed Sabitzer and Weghorst on loan. That's when we could have signed Cody Gakpo, but then what happened? We let him go to Liverpool because Manchester United just wouldn't spend the money that PSV were requesting. And now this summer, he wanted a striker in the Harry Kane or Victor Osimhen, and then a backup in Rasmus Hojlund. Now, yes, we did get Rasmus Hojlund, but in Erik Ten Hag's plans, Højlund wasn't supposed to be the main striker, and now Højlund is having an injury delay, which is what the next segment is. That when is Rasmus Højlund going to start playing for us? I mean, there's rumours that he's supposed to start against Nottingham Forest, but now we're also getting other reports saying that he's now not going to play. I do, but I mean, again, everyone that's watching, we are live tomorrow at 10 a.m. as well with Nottingham Forest fan channel, Talk Forest TV. So make sure you tune to them. They're a very big Nottingham Forest fan channel. So we're going to be doing a comparison, doing a collaborated preview together, much like we did with Harry Scarf for the Spurs preview. So I want to try and do this with every single rival club that Manchester United are facing throughout the Premier League. So if you know anyone that has a rival channel who would like to collaborate, drop them a message at Red Devils TV is looking for other teams to collaborate with. But anyway, with Rasmus Hojlund, I'm finding it frustrating because when are we going to see him play? I've been patient. I want him to see him play because I absolutely love Højlund. I know Benjamin in the comments and some of you other guys as well are massive fans of Højlund. But some people are saying that he's injury prone and that we've signed him injured. Now, I remember seeing him play for Atalanta in pre-season this season already. He had a bit of a pre-season campaign with Atalanta before we agreed a deal with him. Now, yes, in that last game he played for Atalanta, and for what he's played, and the time he joined Manchester United, he's now got a back injury, which is, we don't know how it's happened, but I'm just hoping at some point he's ready to fit and play. And let's have a look. Benjamin says, just started a YouTube channel, don't worry. That's what we like to hear, mate. That's what we like to hear. I will definitely, let me know. Send me your link on Twitter and I'll subscribe to you and shout you out, bro, because again, you've needed to start a YouTube channel for ages. And Ryan says that De Jong said he didn't want to come to the club. That's why nothing materialised there. So why did we drag it out for so long then? If Frankie De Jong was saying that he didn't want to come to us, why do we drag it out for 3 months? And then we go to try and get Rabiot, and then the protest happens, and then we end up signing Casemiro. It was a massive, weird loop, that. So if Manchester United knew Frankie De Jong didn't want to come, why did we push it for so long? That's what I don't understand, pal. But I do see your point. Ryan says that Højlund should be back after the international break. Well, there you go then. If that happens, then Rasmus Hojlund is out for at least another 2 to 3 weeks, which is absolutely awful, maybe even a month. So that, for me, is scary. The fact that we've spent £72 million on Rasmus Hojlund and he's not going to play the first, 4 or 5 games of Manchester United season. That's a massive worry, in my opinion. And Benjamin says that Amrabat is a priority. We have a list of players that we want to come in. If someone is sold, the fact that Ben Didier is so close points to the fact that Henderson is further out the door than Van der Beek. Well, there we go then. And I hope that happens. But I do hope we do sign like this new goalkeeper that you say is as good as you say he is. And then Amrabat, because again, I've seen Amrabat. I remember watching him in the World Cup for Morocco, and he was absolutely brilliant in my opinion. So again, we like these talk shows because we talk about obviously the latest transfer news and everything. But anyway, everyone that's watching right now, make sure you leave a like on the video. It really helps out the channel. And obviously we just want to get them numbers up. But anyway, thank you for everyone that's been interactive this evening. Ryan also says that we are so excited to see him play, but it is frustrating, this injury that is keeping him out, definitely. And I want to ask everyone right now, obviously Manchester United have struggled scoring goals in our last few games and even in pre-season. So the question is for the audience, that what is your best starting 11, or sorry, your best starting front three for Nottingham Forest this weekend? Because for me, I'd risk Martial being injured. I'd play Martial because I just think that he makes things happen. My starting 11, if it was up to me, would be Sancho on the right, Martial through the middle, and Rashford on the left. It'll probably end up being, I don't know who it'll be, actually. I actually can't decide. It'll probably Rashford through the middle, Garnacho on the left, and Anthony on the right. That's probably what Erik Ten will go for because he's stubborn and he'll keep the same front three that he's been going for over the last 2 games. Brian says that Rashford, Sancho, and Palestri. I would love that. I would love to see Palestri play and get a chance. It'd be absolutely brilliant. And Benjamin also says that Rashford, Sancho, and Anthony, that has the most balance on and off the ball. I agree, but my issue with Sancho as a false 9 is that he doesn't have the poacher's instincts when he does get into the box. Now, if the instruction of Erik Ten Hag is that Sancho needs to stay on the edge of the box and Rashford and Anthony are getting him behind the defensive lines and then running into the box in that diagonal angle run that they like to do where they drift inside, then that's when Anthony and Rashford will play their best football, and with Sancho linking them up, it'll be a very balanced front three, like you said. And then Kimmich said Sancho at false 9. I would love that. I would love to see Sancho at false 9. But if it was me, I would rather see Sancho play on the right because I don't believe that Sancho is as good as a central player as people make him out to be. I do think he's much better on the right-hand side because he can create, he has more space on the ball, and he has more time as well. But with the way Nottingham Forest are probably going to set up, they're either going to set up with a back five or set up with a 4-2-3-1 formation, which is going to be quite hard to break down because Manchester United will probably be on the front foot for the majority of the game. We'll probably be playing against a low block. But at the end of the day, this is what we're getting the Nottingham Forest fan channel on for, because we want to discuss on what is going to be happening and how they're going to be setting up, so then we can analyse what's the best way for Manchester United to try and counter this. But anyway, thank you everyone who's putting your options for your front three formation. And Brian says that I think Sancho's pace allows him to be a threat as a false nine. I agree. And the thing is with having a natural false nine or number 9 is that it's a player that draws out the defenders. And this is where Rashford is as impactful as he is. This is why he's perfect on the left wing, because he has just a full back to deal with and maybe the tracking back winger. And that's all he has to deal with, because the actual striker draws the central defenders out and that allows Rashford to have more space. But something that I do want to mention actually quickly is that is everyone looking forward to seeing Elanga play on Saturday? Because I am, because I think that we might have made a mistake selling Elanga. I do feel like that he should have left, but I do think as well that he didn't really get a proper chance at the same time. So you look at the chance that someone like Garnacho has had under Erik Ten Hag, where he's had consistent game time, consistent chances, whether he's played bad or good. Alanga's not really had that chance, and he's kind of been thrown in the deep end ever since he was promoted from the youth team. Ralph Rangnick needed signings. The Glazers wouldn't sign him anyone because he was only the interim manager, so he brought through Anthony Elanga from the youth setup, who wasn't ready, but was that extra option. So for me, I do believe that Anthony Elanga will become a very good footballer. Now, last segment of the video, and that's Mason Mount injury update. Now, we've had an injury update that Mason Mount is going to be missing out for the next 3 to 4 weeks in Manchester United's campaign or seasonal campaign. Now, I want to ask something now, because I've got a bit of a theory here, that is Erik Ten Hag faking Mason Mount's injury to the press to show that why we need an extra signing like Amrabat, because Mason Mount's now injured. We haven't got a player to fill that gap for the next 3 to 4 weeks. Will that give Erik Ten Hag a little bit of a push to try and force the purchase of Amrabat? That's just a theory that I've got, but let me know in the comments if I'm completely deluded or if you agree with me. And Benjamin also says that they will play a 3-4-3, 5-2-3. They will play a mid to low block with very little space between the lines. This is where someone like Sancho in the central half spaces will be key. Well, there we go then, pal. Obviously, again, I didn't know this, and obviously we'll confirm this with the Nottingham Forest fan channel tomorrow. And let's just ask. But Kimmich also says that I think McTominay deserves a chance. Now, here's also a question. So obviously Mason Mount's injured, as we've just discussed. He will be missing out the Nottingham Forest game and the Arsenal game at least. So who is your backup replacement for Mason Mount? Is it Eriksen, who we played majority of our season last season with? Obviously Casemiro, Eriksen, and Fernandes. Would you give Van der Beek a choice, or would you give Scott McTominay? Let me know in the comments down below right this second on who would you play to replace Mason Mount. For me, I would give McTominay the chance, because I do think that despite him struggling tracking his runners, he will add the most balance to what we currently have. And this is why I don't understand why we sold Fred, because I believe in that Spurs game, Fred would have played a lot better than Mason Mount or Fernandes did as that box-to-box midfielder. But that's just my opinion. And Benjamin also says that Eriksen versus Forest and Scott versus Arsenal. That's interesting, but do you not want to see more consistency by letting them both play? But obviously, that's obviously just your opinion, pal. I understand against Arsenal, they'll be a lot more threatening when it comes to on goal. So I do understand why Scott McTominay, but I would honestly start Scott McTominay against Forest as well. But that's just my opinion. Ryan also says that I would probably say Eriksen. I'm not a massive fan of McTominay as he had plenty of opportunities in the first team. I agree, but you think back to the days of Mourinho, he played as a centre-back majority of the time or a defensive mid. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he played majority of the McFred, obviously the horror of McFred partnership, where they both played as the 6 to cover the defensive lines. And then under Erik Ten Hag, he's not really had a chance. So when you think about it, McTominay has had his chances, but in the wrong position. Because as we know, McTominay as a youth player was a striker. And when he plays in that box-to-box role, he plays brilliant. I mean, he plays brilliant for Scotland in that role when he has someone like John McGinn covering him for Scotland. So I think when Scott McTominay is driving forward, we know he can score from outside the box. He's very good on the ball when it comes to driving forward. He's very decent at link-up play. I do think that because of the McFred days, McTominay has become kind of hated in our fan base, and I would definitely give him a chance, but that's just my opinion. Obviously, we're all entitled to our own opinions. But anyway, just last segment of the video. Now, obviously, we've just pretty much discussed everything. And if anyone is new watching this stream, obviously make sure you leave a like on the stream and subscribe if you are new. It really helps out the channel. And we are on the road to, I believe it's 800 subscribers. I think we're about 16, maybe 17 subscribers away. So please subscribe and let's try and get to 800 subscribers before kickoff for the Forest game. It would be absolutely amazing. And then Ryan also says that Ten Hag clearly doesn't favour him because he had a chance to bring him on in the opening games, but he's chosen not to. That's a good point. I do agree on that. But is that because Erik Ten Hag is stubborn in wanting to play these two number 10s? And obviously at Ajax, he played, I believe it was Tadic, and I can't remember who the other one, who the other attacking midfielder was. But I believe Erik Ten Hag at Ajax played two number 10s and had the holding midfielder. And that's the way he liked to play his football at Ajax. And that's probably what he's trying to incorporate in his philosophy at Manchester United. But anyway, thank you everyone that's watched this evening. Obviously, this half an hour has gone absolutely rapid. But honestly, thank you everyone for watching. We did a video on Palestra yesterday. So go and check that video out. What is Palestra's future at Manchester United? And hopefully at 10 o'clock tomorrow, we'll be doing the live stream of the Nottingham Forest fan channel. So if anyone's interested to watching that, that will be at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. But anyway, thank you for watching. And hopefully I'll see you some of you there tomorrow morning for the Forest preview. But anyway, thank you for watching. Have a good evening and take care, everyone.